What is psychology? It's a word that's come to mean the scientific study of the mind and its functions. And I don't know about you, but I find that language to be so mechanistic and cold and inhuman. The idea of functionality feels so machine-like to me. And that's not to say that our mind doesn't have functionality, because of course it does. And in many ways we need to study it so that when it isn't performing its basic functions, we can get it fixed. But that definition, the scientific study of the mind and its functions, it leaves out so much. And what it leaves out, we put over there and we say, okay, that's spirituality, that's philosophy, that's mythology. But what if I told you that the word psychology literally means the study of soul? Like, that's what the word means. Psyche is a Greek word that means soul. The Latin version is anima, and ology comes from logia and logos and means the study of a subject. So psychology literally means the study of soul. And when I first learned this and thought about the implications of what it meant, it kind of blew my mind, no pun intended. And you might very well say, okay Liam, that's all very interesting, but words change their meanings all the time. Like, why does any of this matter? And I think I'd say, well, if we were just talking about a random word, then sure, it doesn't matter. But we're not. We have a lot of problems with our psychology right now. And when we're literally misunderstanding and misinterpreting the word itself, I can't help but think that's a massive, glaringly obvious clue as to where the problem might be. We have a bit of a balancing act when we talk about soul, and I think it's useful to use the metaphor of a bridge, which is a very important image for a number of reasons that I'll go into. On one side of this bridge we have materialism, matter, the current scientific worldview concerned with all that is physical and literal. And on the other side we have spirit, religiosity, abstract notions like God the Father and sin. And when we talk about soul, we're likely to be misinterpreted from both sides of this bridge. In our current paradigm dominated by the scientific materialist worldview, people are likely to equate soul and spirit as belonging to the non-physical, maybe even paranormal. Someone might invoke the words woo as in all that woo-woo stuff. Alternatively, those who are very spiritually inclined are likely to look at some of the discourse around soul with its Greek polytheism and paganism and its connection to the material world as somehow being evil or satanic in some way. So it's really no wonder why this perspective has struggled in the past centuries, caught in bitter wars between the science and the church. So why the metaphor of a bridge? Well, the word metaphor is itself a metaphor. It comes from the Latin metaphora, which means to carry across. So a metaphor is a bridge that connects or mediates between two realms. And in this place of mediation or imagination, when standing on this bridge, we are in soul. We're in the world of metaphor, and we're able to gain insights into certain things about the world. Now, understandably, you might say, okay, Liam, psychology really means this, metaphor actually means that. Clearly, you like wordplay and etymology. Why does any of this matter? Which again is a really interesting figure of speech. When we say, why does this matter? We're essentially saying, how does this relate to matter, to the physical world? Now, I need to do that thing where I say I'm not a doctor or a psychiatrist, I'm just some guy with some thoughts, so take whatever I say with a pinch of salt. But anyway, let's say you're depressed. In today's medical language, you have this condition called depression. In the literal scientific world, your mind is not functioning as it should be, and it needs to be fixed. Now, this is often done with behavioral or pharmaceutical interventions that are designed to make you function better. And they often achieve those ends. They allow people to carry on functioning the way they think they should. And that's fine. I'm not interested in how people function or telling people how they should function. This video isn't about ethics. It's about imagination. But let's say you wanted to try something else. The literal and scientific approach wasn't doing much for you, and you didn't much fancy going to church or praying to God for help. soul-centered approach might look something a bit like this. And again, I'm not a Jungian analyst, so please consult with one before trying any of this at home. But what Hillman or another analyst might do is encourage you to become interested in your depression. And again, if you'll bear with me for another bit of wordplay, then looking at this word interested, I think, is important here. Interest is made up of inter and esse. Inter means with, and esse, as in essence, means being. So to be interested in something means to be with something. And you can start to see how radically different this approach is from the current one. Rather than simply a symptom to get rid of, depression becomes a phenomenon to explore. An analyst might ask you, what does this depression feel like? Where is it in your body? What images does it bring up for you? Does it appear in your dreams? And then, as you start to move down this road or across this bridge, you might start to feel like you can communicate with your depression, like it wants something from you. Maybe it wants you to paint pictures of it, or write about it, or dance with it. And here's the absolutely wild thing. What began as a horrible, negative symptom to get rid of might actually become one of the most meaningful and important things in your life.